Welcome to the Mildura Weekly, and joining me today is member for Mallee Dr Anne Webster. Anne, welcome back to the studio.
Thanks, John. Great to be here.
And of course, the first 2 weeks of Parliament you've just returned from, and you're back in the electorate working this week, but quite a tumultuous start to the year. Perhaps you'd like to reflect on that.
Yeah, look, it was quite an unexpected, in many ways, start to the year, and disappointing. We would like to be focused, and I'm certainly have been elected to focus on the needs of Mallee, not on internal party behaviours. So my hope is that we can get back to some stability and some certainty going forward, and support Michael McCormack as our leader, and now David Littleproud, of course, as our deputy leader.
Yeah, there were some interesting sidelines to that. We saw Matt Canavan sort of resign in support of Barnaby Joyce, and then Queensland member Lou O'Brien sort of stepping away from the National Party and then being elected as Deputy Speaker. So interesting aspects to all of that.
Yeah, sure. Matt Canavan, of course, stepped down because he had particular issues with conflicts of interest, which had nothing to do with the Barnaby Joyce leader spill. So Matt's got to work through those particular issues, and yes, Lou O'Brien was certainly out of the basket, but he's now Deputy Speaker and doing a good job from what I can see. And I think that we're working together as a party. Even though Lou's no longer in the room, I sit next to him, so we're definitely communicating as a party. Somebody said last night that, James McGrath, I think, that the National Party is a family, and that families from time to time have spats and blues and, connect together again. And I think that's possibly true, but the point for me is that I want to focus on my electorate, and I want to focus on the issues, of which we have a range of issues that just need to be focused on and worked on and lobbied for, and that's what I'm doing. Unfortunately,
you had a close working relationship with Bridget McKenzie, and when I say unfortunately, of course she had to resign from her position. There's issues to do with the sports grants. How did you reflect on that?
Look, it's disappointing, obviously. Bridget is a multi-talented woman, and certainly brings an immense amount to the party, and she'll continue to do that. I'm sure that it's not the end of her aspirations and political career. She will continue to go from strength to strength. This is a period of time that she's just got to reflect and move on. And look, I'll continue to support her to do that.
Yeah, indeed. Well, look, you sit on, I think, 13 committees in the Parliament, a busy workload. Of course, homelessness is an area of particular interest to us, and yourself. Can you just tell us about your work with that committee?
Yeah, look, I'm on the Standing Committee for Social Policy and Legal Affairs, and we have just completed an inquiry on online access to pornography and gambling. So that's a particularly interesting piece of work where we've had public hearings to do with that subject, and age verification in particular. Highly complex area when you start talking about online. The next inquiry is around homelessness, and is the terms of reference are available for anyone to look at. It's quite broad. I think the important thing about this subject, of course, my work with Zoe Support, I've had something to do with understanding homelessness and the causation of homelessness, and so it is of great interest to me. There are many pathways to homelessness. It's very easy for people to think it's just somebody's bad choices. It's not always that at all, and it's important for us as a government to look at the services that are currently being provided, to determine whether there are better ways we can do things, to determine how effective those programs are, and to also look at prevention as opposed to symptomatic relief. So the government spends billions of dollars in this space, and we need to make sure that it's it's impacting and helping the people that it needs to help.
Yeah, and just lastly, and fairly briefly, because we're running out of time, you've been busy in the electorate this week, as I've said. You've been touring around. What's the mood on the ground? And of course, the impacts of the drought, I guess, vary from wherever you go. But what's the feedback?
Look, the feedback is that we need to deal with water, we need to deal with climate change, and various health issues. As you know, I'm very passionate about health. I've been to see the Swan Hill Hospital yesterday, which is mortifying, I have to say. The emergency department, honestly, nobody should have to go there. It's appalling. The staff do an amazing job, and the quality of the work that is done is always professional. I have no doubt about that, but the actual facilities are appalling and have been so for some time. So I will be doing all that I can. The federal government, of course, we've announced a $30 million investment in the Swan Hill Hospital, and I believe it will go towards the emergency department from what I understand now, but obviously clearly an enormous amount more needs to be invested, and the state government needs to step up.
Right. Well, thanks so much for coming in, Anne, and we look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Pleasure. Thanks, John.
And be sure to get all your local news at milduraweekly.com.au.